let's see what happens.
Dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Arlene, how is 7 doing?
7 is on his venture right now. Yes, and he's doing well. He, makes it on the, trainer's reels every once in a while of like,
So
this
cute.
is 7 with all the other dogs. It's so cute. So, I miss him though. When he leaves for the day, I'm like, I know I know he's got to go and I know I've got stuff to do. But then like when I'm at lunch, I'm like, where is he? Where is 7?
I know the feeling.
He's busy.
I, like
He's busy.
half the
He's too
time
busy for me.
I'm like, it's like, to say that my dog is a burden would be unkind. But it's like, I get up in the morning, I
Yeah.
think about him.
But also not inaccurate.
Right. Like sometimes I'm just like, wow, I would just like imagine a life where I just didn't think about him all day, and his well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when because sometimes he's like, I don't know, my mom will take him or, he'll stay with a friend overnight or, just something, which is designed to help me like relax a little bit, which it does. But at the same time, I'm just like, I miss him. I want him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is he?
It's like
What's
I don't,
he doing?
like I know him. I'm his mother.
Yeah.
I know him.
Exactly.
Nobody knows him like me.
Real quick, since you guys are both in the LA area, I have some LA related news that is very quick, easy, and personal, but I don't have anywhere else to be happy about it.
Okay.
My cousin, Brian Sturgeon, was just awarded the Employee of the Year for the Oxford Union High School District.
Oh.
Oxnard.
Oxnard
Yeah.
Union High School.
Yeah,
Did I say
Oxnard.
Oxford?
Yeah,
Up by
yeah.
Ventura.
I said Oxford, which is where I grew
Yeah,
up.
I think
The
you did say
Oxnard Union High
Oxford,
School
and I
District.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think you mean Oxnard. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very, very
that
cool.
is very cool.
And he just got selected to go up to
Yay.
the district, so he got a promotion at the same time. It's like he's leaving the school, so like the last day of school, they announced the Employees of the Year. He got the Employee of the Year, and next year he's going to the district level. So
Oh man. Well,
I don't have anywhere else to explain how awesome that is because I don't know anybody else in California, and you two are both right there in the LA basin.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Let's see. If I point to Oxnard, it would be this way. So, Ryan, I'm looking at you.
Yeah. When you said Oxford, I was like, where is Oxford, California?
it's a small town in Indiana.
Well, I heard Oxford also, but I was like, Oxnard.
He means, yeah.
You
That's
must mean
that's what he
Oxnard.
means.
Yeah.
Once you get to, the sunny days of Alaska, things get a little loopy. We've all seen that movie. What was that movie?
I came home from work
movie.
last night. I got off work at midnight, but I didn't actually leave until about 12:30. And I was noticing, I was like, oh man, this is like peak darkness. It was already getting light again when I got to the house at 1:30 in the morning.
Yep. Insomnia. That movie. Did not
Yeah.
like that movie. I know I've told you about this before, Amos, because I was just like, I'm not going to Alaska in the summer. Look at that man. He can't even sleep. But
Luckily, we have curtains, face masks, and melatonin.
well, there you go. Yeah. I think I don't know if you are on par what latitude, longitude, whatever the horizontal one is, with
longitude.
Iceland. Longitude, yeah. And but yeah, I had gone in the like mid-July with a bunch of friends to Iceland some years ago, and everyone had said like, just so you know, like it's never gonna get dark, so just bring whatever you need to bring to make sure you sleep well. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's like kind of gonna get dark. No, it did not. No, it did not. And it was sort of like, it was a friend's birthday, so everybody was kind of partying. It just, just kind of, it wasn't real life. And I remember just like being outside at like 2 a.m. and just being like, how do people do this? And on the flip
Yeah.
side, in the winter, how do people just there's no sun. Not going to have any sun. It's just very extremes, very extremes.
I'm very close, only a few degrees of longitude away from Iceland.
Okay. So same idea. Same
Yeah.
idea. I mean, trust me, it was
If-
fun. It was fun to be like on a boat at midnight and I'm like, it's sunny right now. But like, this isn't real life. Like I need to go home.
No.
It's just,
Yeah.
I'm fearful.
Yeah.
Too much sun. All right. Well, let's get right into the show, shall we?
That could be a thing we did.
Let's do it.
Zoe says she lived in Oxford for a while. Very different
A
Oxford.
different Oxford. Well, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a different Oxford, but I'm going to assume a different
Well, hers
Oxford.
was in the UK and mine was in Indiana, so I'm
Different. Yeah.
very different.
Little different.
There was, speaking of, oh my gosh, where was, I think it was, they had, a bunch of tornadoes in sort of the mid-states a couple weeks ago. And there was, I think, if I remember correctly, there was a town in Kentucky that was hit pretty hard. It was called London. And I'm like, London, Kentucky. That sounds nice. It just does. Probably very
It's like
different
Paris,
than London in
Texas?
the UK. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Paris, Texas. Yes, exactly. Same idea. But I'm like, I wonder how it got named that.
Somebody must love, or maybe there was a person with the last name, or came
Aren't
from
there, like,
London.
There's like 40 different states that have a city called Washington, and like 36 have a city called Lincoln. Like we here
I can
in
think of
America, we love
Lincoln,
renaming
Nebraska, but
stuff.
I'm sure there are way many more. of them.
It's
There's
these are all
probably a
little facts
Lincoln,
that I find
California.
on the Armed Forces Network television when I was overseas. They'd come up with these little facts. There are 42 states with the name Washington in the city. Yeah.
I love that.
All right. I am going to disappear. I'm going to wait for Sarah to do her little 1, 2, 3 thing, or 3, 2, 1 thing, or whichever way she goes.
I'll
And
do
then
a
I'm gonna
3,
hit the little
2.
bumper.
Carry the 1. That's what I'll do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right
All
on.
right. Okie dokie. Let's get this show on the road in 3, 2. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Apple Vision Show, the show that talks about all things Apple. Eileen Rivera is my co-host. How are you, Eileen?
I am doing well. Here we go. On the way to WWDC soon.
We are definitely
All
on
of
the
us.
march. We're definitely on the march. This is episode 60 of our show. So I don't know, a little golf clap to ourselves, I suppose. Look at us,
Yeah.
60 episodes.
Clap it up. Clap
Clap
it
it
up.
up. But
We're
yeah,
seniors. We're seniors, Sarah.
We are, yes. We can truly golf clap and feel like it's us. But I have noticed that as we inch closer and closer to WWDC, which starts on June 9th, so just over a week from today, we're getting a lot of little crumbs of Apple stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody in a PR/marketing department is like, get all this stuff out there, you know, so then that we can really focus on the other stuff when we're, talking to all the devs at our show. We'll obviously be covering that as much as we can. It's sort of the big first thing of the year for Apple. We had some announcements earlier in the year, but WWDC is really where you get a sense of, okay, this is what the company wants to talk to developers about, which then in turn makes people like us use their apps and products.
Yeah, it's like, like a movie premiere. Like we're getting all of these like seeded marketing, talking points for journalists so that they can start drumming up these articles and everybody starts thinking about it day in and day out. So that Apple is just in your blood by the time it shows up. And then you're like, oh, I hope it's a big announcement, which kind of sounds like it will be. It kind of
Yeah,
does.
maybe so. I don't know if you watched Google I/O this year, Eileen. I know
You know
you've,
what?
you've
I
followed
haven't
Google
yet.
very
Yeah.
closely in the past. It was something that I watched the announcement. It was heavily AI focused,
Oh,
which
yeah, I'm
is,
sure.
the Google should be proud. I mean, Gemini and VO both, pretty great at this point.
Yeah.
Or maybe not great, but definitely impressive. Depends on what you want to use it for. But it was, as I was watching it, I was like, wow. I mean, this whole show, which was at Shoreline Amphitheater, where IO always is, which is in Silicon Valley. And I was like, I wonder how long before they just don't have people on stage anymore.
Oh my
I
God,
really-
good point.
I really did think that because so much of it was about here's what we can do where we
Yeah.
didn't have to do it this way before. It's so much easier. It's so much faster. It's so much cheaper. And I have complicated feelings about that in general because I'm like, I'm a person. I want a job. But yeah, I would like to know what, how Apple spins their version of, their kind of big dev parade, which is
Yeah.
what Google's I/O is as well.
Yeah, I've seen clips from IO, and I've definitely seen clips of people who have created stuff, especially on VO, and I was so impressed. And now that you say, do we need people for, these presentations? It's true. You could be going off doing something, or you could run the program, and then, live, you could be meeting with people without having to have to do the presentation, right? Like behind
Yeah.
the scenes, which would be certainly efficient, right? We're just talking about efficiency here, not like taking people's jobs. But, like if I had someone, like I used to give presentations all the time at my old job. I'm like, if I could have just created a video that is me and, I wouldn't have to do that so I can go back because there's a lot of work to do. And just do my work, great.
100%. Yeah.
Instead of take time for that presentation that nobody really wanted to hear, because nobody wants to hear each other's presentations.
Or it's
let's
like
be
maybe,
real,
maybe the
corporate.
information is important to them, but you
Yeah.
don't have to physically do that.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah.
job, gosh, was it the last job I had in an office before I went like fully remote? No, second to last. But when I used to work at TechCrunch and I ran their video team, and it was a great job, great folks, all the things. But one of the things that I had to do on a quarterly basis was like, present sort of like, here are, all the things going well in video to the rest of the team, because there's like, what's she doing all day? And like, you sort of are just like, here's why my job is important type thing.
Yeah.
I hated it. I hated it. And it wasn't because, I hated to, like brag about like good numbers because we had them. It was more of just like, this is a huge meeting. It's most of the day is going to be taken up by this. And I then can't like make the numbers better because I'm doing this instead.
Exactly. I know it's all part of the corporate, you meet, you present, maybe it creates discussion and you could, learn from it, whatever. But ultimately, like the presentation meetings are the stuff that I really never liked. I don't mind the meetings where you're actually trying to like meet and work, how do we do this? But the ones where
Like
it's just
there's
the
an issue, let's fix the problem.
Yeah.
It's like meetings like that are very important. But it's more
the
of
dog
just kind
and
of
pony
like,
show. No, I don't like the dog and pony show.
I
Unless you're gonna give me like an artist for me to watch do something. But if I just have to hear the CEO speak, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess you have something to say. But now with I was just talking to a friend of mine about this because like programs like even like Canva have these wonderful templates for presentations, you know? And I was like, oh my God, you mean I didn't have to, if just a few years ago this was more available, I wouldn't have had to slave on PowerPoint with their like really janky templates. Sorry, Microsoft,
Right,
you had janky templates back in the day. And now they have these beautiful templates that can work for Google Docs, for Microsoft, for everything that's already created. And you just kind of tweak it to make it your own and add, you know, your own pictures and your own data and all that stuff. Oh, that would have been such a lifesaver, you know?
It really
And
would.
I
Yeah,
just
and I mean,
feel
for
like,
anybody
you know,
who's sort of like, well, what about Keynote? I feel like Keynote, PowerPoint, I mean, they're not
they're all
exactly
the
the
same.
same program, but they're kind of the
Right.
same.
They're kind of in
They're-
Google Docs, like,
Yeah, I mean, they're different in their own ways, but essentially, you create, you know, a slideshow. And at the same job that I was just talking about, I used to, I'd be like, all right, well, here are, the good stats that I want to share with the team, and, you know, just get everybody up to speed on what's going on with the video team. And we had a person, full-time staff member, who punched up all of our presentations because I was like I remember like I like made it, and I think it was my boss at the time, and he was like, well, this is a really good first pass. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you want me to have like a garden behind, you know, these numbers? Like, it's like, and he's like,
What do you want
well,
from
it
this?
just you're clearly like not an ace at this. So we'll have so and so just kind of punch it up, you know, make it look nicer so that you feel better when you're presenting. And I was like, okay. Like, man, I just, you know, I just put a number in a spreadsheet. I'm good to go. Yeah.
oh yeah,
But
no, they want it to look bold with like some
They
sort
want
of
it to
border
look
around
very-
it, you know.
yeah.
You either
Yeah.
get a designer and or someone in the PR office to like give it pizzazz, right? Like they're the ones that like look it
Yeah.
over and they're like, oh yeah, let me, you know, let me make it good. But
We're like, you know,
won't
our
have to worry
tagline needs
about
to
that.
be in more things. There are
Oh,
many
exactly.
different ways to, I guess, share information is where I'm going with this. But speaking of that, Eileen, it might be be crazy. However, Bloomberg is reporting a rumor. Mark Gernberg from Bloomberg, who, you know, he knows people. So if anybody's an Apple leaker, it's him. New rumor that big OS updates like iOS and even iPad OS, Mac OS, Watch OS, Vision OS will all be tied to the year that they were released, rather than us all trying to remember, like, what was the last one? 18? Or is it 19? Or is it 17? You know, how many years has it been? Instead, it's kind of like the way that you will get like the newest, coolest version of the Volvo car. You know, it'll be like Volvo XC60. That's the model of my car. That's why I'm using that as a reference. 2026, because it's not 2026 yet. So you get it like kind of early, but it's like that's the new one. So this is the rumor, is that Apple's software products will now correspond to the year that they were released, which sounds a little cray-cray in a way, because I'm like, okay, well, we expect iOS 18 in October of this year, assuming that this is a normal Apple year. And then next year would be 19. And I know that just because I follow the space. But is it actually going to be 2026? Because that's next year. And if so, that's a little that makes my mind melt, but it also makes it so much easier to remember when these things were went live. I actually like this idea.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. It's just, do we get updates every year for every OS? No, right? Like, not every OS updates every year. So will one fall behind at one point where like tvOS is still at 26, but iOS is at 27? Does that make that even possible? Or are we
That's a
just
good
going to
question.
update all the time? You know?
I mean, for a while now, it's been iOS, iPad OS, a little bit different. Mac OS, well, I guess you're right. I guess they're all a little bit different. But for the most part, during a calendar year, everything gets some sort of a bump.
We'll update.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, you're right. It would be really weird if, for example, let's say we have a big iPhone event in October, or it's September, I guess, with October release.
Yeah.
And, Apple's like, all right, we're calling it iOS 2026. iPad OS is still 18.
Right?
Because we just don't have anything for you on that right now. I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
what I mean,
That's a good question.
Does that mean that every department now you get update every year? Like we're all going to update together. We're all going to move, to a new year every single year. There's no, tvOS. We don't know when we're going to do anything. Like every minor update is a whole update is kind of how I feel, right? Like I feel like tvOS doesn't always get an update like this big. Am I wrong, everybody? So that's where I'm like, that means tvOS is like, okay, features. Yes, we're going to have something big every single year, even if you don't have to, right? Like iOS, I get iOS, and watch goes with iOS and Mac, of course. I get those, but you don't, it's been since our last Apple TV. So that's where I'm like, okay, so everything's going to just sing together from now on. So everybody working at the tvOS.
Even if okay, so tvOS, that's a good example because it doesn't really. I mean, you get updates, but it's not like, ooh, how is tvOS going to be radically different this year? It's like, nah, you just want to watch stuff. But and I'm sorry, I kept saying iOS 18 and I meant 19 coming this fall. But like tvOS, it's like maybe it's just now called 2026 because it's like you've got the latest one. Maybe there is nothing cool and different. But it's just the latest one. You're up to date.
Does it make them more motivated to have, everybody's going to trot out something amazing, so we will too? I don't know what it is, but and again, I don't really need like a overhaul all the time for tvOS, but I just, each department works differently. Each department has different needs, but yeah, I guess, I'm assuming like there's like software updates all the time. So, it's just gonna like clockwork will just eventually just change with the year, no matter how insignificant the update is. We gave you a mutant, or I don't know, that's just a dumb example, but you know what I mean. We gave you X, a small tiny thing. This is tvOS 27. Like, golf clap.
Well, but at the same time, it's like, and maybe there aren't a lot of updates related to that. But you are sort of like, all right, I've got the new one.
Right.
This is the newest. This is the newest version. It does feel like it feels kind of weird, but at the same time, it's like I couldn't even remember iOS 18 versus 19 5 minutes ago.
I can't either. Yeah,
Seriously.
It's
like if they were like iOS 2026, I'm like, oh yeah, the one that came out, in
2026.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that I upgraded to type thing. I think this makes a lot of sense because we have lots of weird naming conventions, and Apple is not the only company who does it, where I'm just like, this is mayhem, people.
Our discussion...
For the last 10 years, macOS, iOS, watchOS, and tvOS have received a numerical update each year, typically on the same day. And now iOS got split off between iOS and iPadOS, but they maintain the same numerical system. So this year we have the macOS 15, iOS 18, iPadOS 18, watchOS 11, and tvOS 18.
So much easier to just have the year for everybody. So we all know now. I feel like whoever came up with this decision I feel like promotion. Come on. That's like how hard was it? How hard, speaking of corporate, how hard was it for that person to convince everybody? Because you know that there was like negotiation, like, oh, come on. We don't need to do Mac OS Sequoia anymore. Let's go with the numbers. Let's uniform everything, which I am sad because we had our discussion a couple weeks ago, Sarah, about like, Mac OS,
what do we think it's
where
going to
in
be?
California. I am very sad about that.
But
But
Mac OS
it's
Fresno.
just easier to remember.
I still love you.
No more. We
I
may
still
not
love
have
ya.
it. We may not ever get it.
We also may get the name to match up with the year that applies to all 5 operating systems instead of just the one. So if it is like, say it's Golden Gate Bridge, Mac OS, 20.
And it just it means
Golden
like
Gate Bridge.
it's
it's also
like
tvOS
iOS,
25
iPadOS,
Golden Gate
I
Bridge.
see.
Mac OS.
So you're saying we
Yeah.
may not
tvOS.
delete the California name. It's just an addition. We're just adding the 26 or 27,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think
yeah,
this move
I'm
actually
down
makes
for
a
that.
whole lot of sense.
That's what I
Mostly
mean, like
because I'm
person,
tired of trying to
promotion.
remember which one.
That would be more fun to
Promotion.
me. I also wonder, for anybody listening who's sort of like, yeah, everyone else is sick of California, stupid Californians. And I don't know if you are saying this, but if you do feel that way,
It's okay.
I would like to
Yeah.
know. But yeah, exactly. Because it's like Apple is, Apple always is, if you, anytime you buy a new Apple product, it's like proudly made in Cupertino, California. But
Right,
also China,
right.
but Cupertino. And the Apple is very kind of like Silicon Valley, born and bred, all that stuff, which is, I mean, that doesn't bother me, but it's also a part of the world that I grew up in. So it's like if Mac OS, the new one was like Mac OS Los Gatos, I'd be like, cool. And everyone else would be like, what's that? Where's that?
Yeah. Why? Why is that?
I wonder if people have maybe gotten a little tired of that kind of the trope.
yeah.
And if so,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
probably.
blame you. If something was always, I don't know, Amos, you were talking about Oxford, Indiana before we started the show. It's like if everything was named after like a place in Indiana, I'd be like, I've never even been to Indiana. Yeah, why can't it be something else kind of thing? So there you go.
Well,
That's how I
here
feel
we
about
go. Then we just got numbers. Okay, everybody.
Just got
Easier
numbers.
to
For
one,
remember.
I, for one, am really looking forward to Mac OS 26 Turkey Run.
it. Is that something in
Turkey
Indiana?
Run.
It's a state park in Indiana.
Oh, it's a state park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Fun.
in Indiana.
Are there a lot of turkeys?
No. It's actually a place where the creek, part of the Wabash River shed, has carved its way through some limestone. So it's like this little canyon with like a creek running through it that you go through. And it's like basically a big natural water park that we go to in the summer.
Fun.
So yeah.
Speaking of
Mac OS
fun,
26 Turkey Creek.
if anyone hears the car alarm going off outside my house right now, I hear it too. Oh, look, it stopped. So
Oh,
yeah,
yay.
good times. Yeah, it's always the one guy where I'm like, listen, your car alarm goes off anytime like a motorcycle drives by. Nobody like even clipped your car. You just then it goes off and it goes off for like a minute and then it stops. And in what universe are, like the neighborhood watch crew, of which I would consider myself, part of that team. Like, we're not running out to see if someone's breaking into your car. We're just mad at you. Turn the car alarm off. My gosh. Thank you.
Oh my God. Wow.
I don't know, Eileen. I don't know if you have car alarm issues in your neighborhood. Probably not, because you're on like a nice
No.
cul-de-sac.
No, but we live near an apartment complex, and there is a parking lot nearby, and it sometimes happens. And sometimes it happens in the middle of the night, and I'm like, wait, is that our car? Because it seems so close, right? Or is it the neighbor's car that we sometimes almost try to check, and then it stops, and we're like, okay, not us, I guess. But
Yeah, that's definitely happened to me before. Usually if I'm staying with a friend where I'm like parked on a street that I wouldn't normally park on type thing. I mean, if I'm at my own house, I have a garage spot, but
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'm like, is that my car? Because if it is, then I got to get up and make this stop for,
Yeah.
for my own sanity, but also like I don't want to be the person who's doing this to everybody else.
No,
And
I know.
I actually I don't know my car alarm. I'm sure it exists, but I don't know what it sounds like. It doesn't go off ever.
Oh, you've never heard it? Like even you've never had
No,
to
I
use it to like
have.
find your car? Because sometimes I use it to find my car because I'm like, where did I park? I can't remember. And I know
Oh,
I'm
like, beep,
close,
beep.
but I'm like blind.
Yeah, like in a
Yeah.
parking
Oh no, no,
garage or something.
yeah, sometimes if there's no one around, I might throw the alarm because I'm like, wait, where is it? Where is
The
it?
only time, and this is years ago, so I like don't even remember what it sounded like, but I was, oh gosh, what a day this was. So my fob, you know, where I, you know, opened my car, ran out of batteries. I was at the beach.
Okay.
And this is like up in Northern California where like when you're out there, you don't have cell service. It's just that's just part of the deal. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't open my car and I can't call anybody and I need to like go home and start working. Like I'm pretty stuck. And this is like a deserted beach. Like no one's there. It wasn't like I would be like, "Hi, sir, can I
Oh,
use your
man.
phone?" No, not at all.
Oh,
So
yikes.
I had to, and the fob had. I don't even know how I figured this out, but you know, it has like you know, like you can if you like press it a certain way, like you get the physical key that will then unlock the car, which I did,
yeah.
but. So I was able to get in, but it also set off the car alarm because I guess I don't know. The
Oh,
car
so
was
you
like,
look like you're the person stealing it. No, just kidding.
right to no one because no one was
To no
around.
one, yeah. No one
you
was
know,
there.
But I was just like, this sucks. Oh my gosh. Oh my
no.
gosh. Stop. Yeah, that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun. Not Apple's fault. Okay.
No.
That was my fault. Well, actually, it was the battery's fault, really. But also my fault for just, I don't know, opening my car some weird way. But yes. So I don't remember what that sound was, but I can remember that it was terrible. So wouldn't want to do that to any of my neighbors unless somebody was actually breaking into my car. But we've gotten to a point now where it's like anytime someone's car alarm goes off, people are just like, ugh. Horrible owner. How dare you? You know, like no one's
wait,
like
somebody-
running out to be like, let's get the caper.
Everybody's like, there's no one. It's just this alarm.
Stupid
it's the,
car,
Like, it's like the
yeah.
it's like the wind blew your car. It's been
Right.
so
Like, why
windy,
can't
and
they
then-
fix that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sad.
you know,
Oh,
CarPlay. Maybe one day CarPlay will solve all of this.
Yes.
Well, Eileen, video games are not totally my forte, but one of the big rumors, again, probably we'll hear more about this at WWDC, is that Apple is planning a dedicated app for video games on its devices. I guess this would be sort of like SteamOS.
Yeah.
That would
it was
be
funny. I was like,
my guess, I suppose.
in my head, I'm like, don't we have Game Center? We do, but it's not like its
do.
own like super standalone. And yes, it's more of a social network, right? So I literally was like looking on my phone, like, okay, where is Game Center on here? And I see it, and I see my my stats and all that stuff, and who I'm friends with. But that's different than like housing everything, in one location,
Right.
And then, I certainly, I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything bad with that. Maybe some game. I mean, they've worked out the payment, right? Like that's the only thing I'm thinking of is the game developers, and maybe they like having their own. You don't lose like an app tile or anything like that. It's just housed in one place, and you can find everything there, right? So.
Well, I think
I don't know.
this feels to me like, and again, I'm kind of the wrong person to like pontificate on this because I just don't play a lot of games. I don't play any games on iOS unless I'm on a plane, which is not very often. And even on desktop, it's sort of like you got Apple Arcade and you got Game Center. And I don't really, I'm sort of like, if you're like, Sarah, gun to my head, what's the difference? I'm like, I don't really know. I don't know. It kind of feels like before Apple had like a dedicated podcast app, that was all part of iTunes. And if you knew, you knew, and it's fine, but it didn't really make a lot of sense. So maybe that's what we're doing here. Maybe it's more of like, all right, lots of people who use various Apple developer tools, want that single place to go for gaming stuff. Whether it's, just to download a game, as a social network, like you were talking about with Game Center, something that just feels more unified. Apple has been historically slow about stuff like this. And some of it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like we've got Apple TV Plus, Apple Fitness Plus, Apple Podcasts, Apple Arcade. It's kind of like, it would be nice if it was all in one place, but at the same time, they all do very different things. So,
Exactly.
I just, what will it be named?
Ooh, 26. No.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Game
Something 26 or
Yeah.
game 26. I like having things, now that you mentioned, like the podcast app, it's like, great. Yeah, no, I go there all the time. And that's where, it's nice to just see everything there that you could, tap into. But yeah, same as you, I'm not like this, uber gamer. I mean, I haven't picked up Fortnite since last week. So I'm still stuck at the same level with the same character. So I don't live and breathe this as much as everyone else. So I'm curious, how the Apple gaming, fans, how they feel about this. Does this make it much of a difference, or is it helpful, or is it just like, I'll never use it? I don't know. I mean, I feel like you will have to use it if you're playing these games and it's all in there. But all of my, games I try to put in a folder anyway. So, and then sometimes if I download something new, it's like on another page, like Fortnite is like all the way at the end of the page. And then I have like a little, like, my niece started playing Hello Kitty on my phone. And so it's there, not in the gaming folder. So it's all kind of all over the place.
Probably a game I would like.
Oh, it's very
my
much,
God,
if
how
you've ever
cute.
played like Animal Crossing, it's kind of like that. And so anyway, she loves it. And when we were in Japan, she just, can I use your phone? I'm like, okay, I need my phone right now.
You wanna play Hello
When can I
Kitty?
use your
We get
phone?
it.
Yeah. When can I play Hello Kitty? I'm like, hang on. It's like every day. I was like, but I want to take pictures. I want to do things with my phone. And she's got
It is
to play Hello
funny
Kitty. I'm like,
that,
okay.
and I know, people of all ages use all sorts of devices differently, but one of my dearest friends from growing up, best friend from when we were young, she has, her daughter is, I guess, 13 now, which is crazy. But a few years ago, I had, I was visiting them, and her daughter, I'll just, keep everybody's names, to themselves. But she was like, Mom, I need your phone, and she was like, no, not yet, and finally, like this went on for a while, and I was like, who's she trying to call? And she was like, she's not trying to call anybody. She wants to play Roblox. I was like, oh, what's going on in there? And she's like, it's where all the kids at school hang out. They like all like decide what server to join, and then they just chat in there. It's like they're not even really playing anything. They're just like hanging out together. I was like, oh,
That's
So
the new
that's what happens
communication.
when you're
Nobody wants to
10.
talk on the phone. Nobody wants to talk on the phone. Nobody, parents are going to give the phone for texting, but we got a game and we can do it that way. Like, I don't know, it's kind of fun.
It's all
as long as,
again, it's sort of
innocent.
like it's. I find it well, it's hilarious to me because I don't have a kid, so this is not something that like actually scares me. I just find it amusing because kids will be like, let's do it this way, and then you'll get the inevitable Facebook post from parents who are like, watch out, your kids are like talking about sex on Roblox, and by that point the kids are like, nah, we're doing it somewhere else. You were, you like kind of
So
caught
late.
up, but like not really.
Yeah.
It's just,
We
it's
switched
just,
it when we figured you guys knew.
yeah, kids will be kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, let us know if you guys are into this. I mean, I don't know how, honestly, it would be terrible, but maybe there's something that we're missing. Why, a dedicated gaming app would not be beneficial for gamers. But,
It seems, it seems like Apple may just be like, you know what? We need to just streamline the naming thing. Let's just
organize
put all
everything.
the gaming stuff in one bucket. Everything that comes out at the end of 2025 is called 2026, and so on. And
Exactly.
just make it easier for everybody to not get it wrong, as I have done on this show already like 3 times.
Yeah. There is some like Uber executive up there, that's like, we got to rein this in, people. Everybody's all over the place. And I applaud that. Again, if it's, 1 or 2 people, help you get your promotion, good job.
Well,
Good project management.
Speaking of naming, and this one is, I don't know, it's we're talking about software naming, but when it comes to hardware, for example, the iPhone 16. Counterpoint Research did some number crunching and found that globally, just all, if you're saying like number 1 phone in the world, it was the iPhone 16. The iPhone 16 Pro Max was number 2. So iPhone 16, not the big one, but just kind of like the flagship phone was number 1. iPhone 16 Pro ahead of the Pro Max. I'm sorry, behind the Pro Max slightly. And then you get iPhone 15. Then you go into Galaxy A16 50, Galaxy A05, if I'm reading this correctly.
AO6, I think AO6.
AO6, thank you. Variety of Galaxy stuff. And then you get into, it's pretty much iPhone, Galaxy across the board.
One Redmi and one
Yeah.
Redmi, right?
One Redmi. Yeah. So Redmi, you're on the right track.
You're on the board. On the board. There you go.
But I speaking of naming, it's like if you were to say to me, Sarah, what model of phone do you have? Yeah, I mean, I know it's an iPhone, obviously, but I would be like, it's not a 16 because I didn't get a phone last year. It's a 15 Pro Max. I know this, but I would really have to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. It just, it's just, I don't know, naming convention. If we were to do something like 2026 with hardware, I would be into that. But I guess the bigger conversation is, dang, all right, so iPhones are selling well across the world.
Exactly. When you just transfer your data to your phone, everything transfers, including the name. So for the longest time, I would say a better part of 6 months, this current phone of mine, the iPhone 16 Pro, was iPhone 15 Pro. Like just the name of it. Like the name, you can give your name.
Oh,
It
it
just-
wasn't
'cause
like
it just transfers.
Eileen phone. It was
Right. I
you
just didn't
rename
change it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when it connects to my car, it also says that. And I'm like, okay. But at one point, I had to put the real model. I don't remember where I needed to say it was a 16 or whatever. And I had to think about it. I'm like, wait, do I have the 15? It says 15 or 16. And I had to just look in the Apple Store app just to make sure. I'm like, no, you have the 16. You just named it. You just kept the old name because it transferred and you never fixed it. I was like, what a dunce I was. Like, I'm like, I shouldn't even have to like, think. I should have just. Now I feel like I need to just name my phone every single time and double check that. But, yeah.
But
I was
no,
under the
I get what you're
assumption
saying though. It's
15.
like you're don't think of yourself as a dunce, because it really I have had this exact situation before where I'm like, what is the what especially if going back to CarPlay, like CarPlay sometimes if I have every so often, like a friend of mine will plug in their phone and will use their CarPlay in my car, and so the Bluetooth gets all messed up, and I have to kind of just like rejigger it, and which is not the end of the world, but it'll, at first the car will be like, "What phone are you trying to connect to? Here are 5 options."
Yeah, and you're
It's
looking
like-
for the wrong one, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's like I used to have a phone that was named Bestie on Fleek. Doesn't matter why it was named that, but that's what it was named. And like I haven't had that phone in going on 10 years. And
it's
it's
still
like,
on your list.
is it Bestie on Fleek? Is that the one you want to connect to? Or I'm like, no. And like, it's so embarrassing because someone will be like, what is that? What is happening? And
Bestie on
yeah, and I don't even know. I actually don't know what my current phone is
What
called.
is your name? Yeah,
I don't
mine
know.
is.
Let's find out.
Like I said,
I don't
just
know.
iPhone
I-
16 Pro.
I may have not named it. Good
Maybe
question.
we should change ours. We should change ours live.
Maybe we should. Well, actually, Eileen, it's
Yeah.
called
Oh.
iPhone 15 Pro Max. That's what it's
Oh,
called.
okay.
Because I have never named it. I did not realize
There you
that.
go.
And apparently, I have a balance
you
on
go.
Apple Cash. I don't know why that is the case. I should probably look at this.
Is it
stuff
like
more
$3? I have a balance
It's
too.
like
and it's like
$50. So I mean, it's
Oh.
not the end of the world. But I'm like, I
Hey.
don't know what that is. I
Yeah.
don't use Apple Pay all that often. Actually, well, let's see. Oh,
Are you going to
won't
name
let
it
me in there?
Bestie on
'Cause
Fleek?
I'm just looking at
26. Bestie on Fleek 26.
See, that's what it should be. That's what it should be. Bestie on Fleek. I think I thought I was
26.
being really funny at some point, where I'm like, it's my bestie because it's my phone on Fleek because it's like cool. I don't know. I have no idea. All
How do you
right,
spell
well,
Fleek?
I have
'Cause
to
I'm gonna-
name
that's
my
the
phone.
name of our
If
episode, you
anyone
guys.
has like a great idea of what I should name my phone, feedback at applevisionshow.com would be a great way to let us know.
Do it. Tell
Well,
us what to name our phones.
We are going to talk messaging apps after a very brief break. So, grab your popcorn, be right back. Eileen Rivera, what is your favorite messaging app and why?
Currently, it's WhatsApp. I just have been using it a lot not with many people, just with a few friends and some group chats. And I just like what, the features. I can upload a video really quick. It just seems to work seamlessly, which is why I like it. But it's curiously today. Oh, and I was so excited that there was finally an iPad app that came out.
Yeah, no,
like
that
last
was
week. Yeah,
very big news to a lot of people.
huge, because sometimes at night I don't want my phone near me, and I have my iPad. I like to use my iPad, but like I would get messages from certain people on WhatsApp, so I have to have my phone nearby. But now I don't need to. I can do that thing where I'm like, leave your phone over here, don't look at anything else, but just hang out with your iPad.
Well,
so that
and
was
it's not
greatly
like you
appreciated.
couldn't use WhatsApp on an iPad previously, but it's now
Right.
a native app. It's something
Well, it
designed
wouldn't even let me
for the
download.
iPad.
I thought for a while it wouldn't even let me download. Like,
Oh,
it
really?
just wouldn't.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah. So
I guess
I
it's
was
been
like,
a while
"Oh."
since I used an iPad regularly. I figured it was just an iPhone app that you had to just make bigger.
It was there, and you try and click on it, and it was like, no, you cannot. I'm like, okay, fine, then I won't do that. But so it's everything is good now. Everything is good. But today I had some friends that were like, oh, can we get on Kakao because my friend here that we all need to talk about X, doesn't like WhatsApp. I was like, oh, okay. And my friend who was asking is in Canada, so that's why she and I were on WhatsApp for a long time. And so, she's not gonna. I don't know why she wouldn't get on Apple Messenger, but she doesn't want that. I think she generally uses.
Is anybody
WhatsApp
from
all the time.
Japan in the group?
No, no.
it?
I think it's just.
no,
Oh no,
just-
it's Korean app.
Oh, okay.
Line is the Japan
I'm thinking
app.
of
Yeah.
Line. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we just started there too. And I don't know, I'm not as familiar with it. I mean, I used it when I was in South Korea, barely. So it feels a bit foreign in there. And then I do have messages, obviously, that I use on, for predominantly with people to get text
Which
messages.
you're talking
and
about
whatnot.
like Apple's messages.
Apple's Apple's messages, which is fine, but there's something about WhatsApp that I don't know, there's just the design of it, the tweak. Like I do a lot of voice memos on WhatsApp, but I don't like it on messages. When I hit the button, like just the way it is, I don't know, the experience of the voice memoing on messages I don't like as compared to WhatsApp, but I only talk to like 5 people on WhatsApp, whereas everybody else is on Apple Messages. So I never do voice memos, but I like voice memos actually. I've learned to really like voice memos because you don't have to leave a voicemail, and sometimes texting takes forever. And so sometimes that, on WhatsApp I'm like blah 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 blah, done. I don't know. There's something about it that I really, really like. And there's just a UI kind of thing that I don't like with the Apple Messages that causes me to not do voice memos. And I don't know what, I think maybe it's my own setup of how it works. And I just need to tweak the buttons or whatever, but it just doesn't. It's not as intuitive. I'm like, how come it works like this? Because sometimes it transcribes my message and I want it to be audio instead. I'm like, well, wait a minute. How did that work? That shouldn't be. Just anyway, that's my own thing.
So I'm looking at my WhatsApp right now.
Yeah.
On my phone. So I don't have I don't even use an iPad these days. But so just looking at the straight mobile interface, and I feel almost the opposite of you, where I'm just like, it's chaos in here. And part of it is because I haven't figured out how to. I mean, I will get WhatsApp spam, for example. The first thing I
cryptocurrency.
see up top from unknown group chat, that's what it's called, with 999 plus
Yeah.
messages. Okay, that's going to be a lot of fun. Is something about like some marketing garbage. So I'll exit community, all fine, doesn't affect my life, but that happens a lot, and I feel like one of the things and I wonder if this is the same for anyone who just has just like a regular old US phone number. Like, I don't care if you're on an Android phone. I was about to say Windows phone. Probably none of you are at this point, but maybe there are a few, or iPhone. I will get a message, like a spam message, where someone's like, hi, is this Julie? Where you're like, oh, God. If you engage, which you shouldn't, but I have in the past, they'll immediately be like, okay, I'm going to message you on WhatsApp. It's like they want to take it out of messages. Somehow the WhatsApp experience is like better for the spammer. And it's the same phone
I
number.
see.
So it's like they can find you there. They like, as soon as you're like, yep, hi, I exist. They're like, okay, let me try to sell you a vacuum cleaner, over on WhatsApp. And it doesn't, I don't know. It WhatsApp feels a little spammy to me. And maybe it's because I don't hang out there very often. I have a few friends, American friends, who don't live in the States currently. And they're like, can we please just talk on WhatsApp? it's just like so much easier for me to not use messages because
Yeah.
I'm just on WhatsApp with everybody else. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that big a deal to me. But yeah, I think it is a pretty big deal to a lot of folks.
And I don't use
WhatsApp, the WeChat, depending on where you live in the world, messages is just like people are like, oh God, iPhone people.
Yeah, you know what? And there's a lot of other features, and I get you when you talk about spam. I used to get these like cryptocurrency spams and like being like financial institution stuff. I don't know. That's gone away for some reason. I don't know how I manage that, but I don't get those anymore. And I feel like there's other things in here. Like there's a communities tab. I have not explored yet. There are, let's see here. There's just different ways to, you can link your devices because, WhatsApp is on, well, you can do that with messages too, but, it's on desktop and then now it's on iPad. And like I said, I have not used it to its extent. And I know people probably are a little wary of it because it's related to Meta, and I totally understand that too. Because I also don't like using Facebook Messenger, but I'm using WhatsApp, so it's all in the same family. So there's for me there is some kind of the other Seven's dog trainer when he goes where he's with today. I just got a message. Seven's going to be home in 25 to 30 minutes. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Anyway, they use WhatsApp, so I've been able to kind of like be in the regular usage of it. And there seems to be just slight UI ease of using it, but as Americans, I would never have used it to begin with if it wasn't for the fact that there was a few people that I know and I regularly communicate on, and in the comparison of it all, I kind of like it more. Now you don't get the fun bells and whistles of what is it when you're texting on messages and you can do the movement, the text movement. At least I don't think so. Maybe.
Oh, or
like
when you say happy birthday and you get confetti.
Yeah, stuff like that. There's stuff that Apple does cool, that does really well, or has added to make the experience better. And there is a lot of good stuff here on messages, and I use it, but I just prefer WhatsApp. There's just
there's more to it. Okay, so as you've been talking about, just preferring WhatsApp, I was just sort of clicking around, and WhatsApp was like, "Do you want to redo your WhatsApp image? Your avatar,
your image
with your something that was AI generated?" And I was like,
"Yep.
Yeah, what is it even? I didn't even have one.
No.
So sorry, everybody. Now you know how little I use WhatsApp, but it's like as I go through my settings, and it's just like, here are some ideas, just avatar ideas. I will read these aloud for you. Me as royalty, a candy storm cloud, a mouse singing, me riding a dinosaur, me in a 1960s film, a magical park at night, or a dog as a king. Guess which one I'm picking?
What? Dog is a king.
Exactly.
No? Oh, okay.
So let's see what's going on. I don't know. I'm like,
can you change the color of the dog?
Well, so this dog, it just gave me an image of a dog as a king in a church. There are other ideas. This is not a picture of Otis. I didn't upload anything. I'm sure I can. But actually this is really ridiculous. So I'm just going to do that. And someone's going to be like, what is that? Is that your dog? No, not my dog. Just a dog as a king. That's just what's happening.
I mean,
that was fun. That was a fun little thing.
Yeah. So this is a topic. This is a totally different topic, but avatars and apps that are, asking you to make these avatars or AI avatars is that's like a whole other thing. I just noticed that on Instagram the other day that you could create your own not you could create an avatar, a separate avatar that you give it, characteristics. You build what the avatar looks like. You give it characteristics, what it likes, what it's afraid of, or whatever, and then it exists in this sort of AI world, and you can chat with it like it's your friend, and then you can invite others who have created these AI avatars to do the same. You could talk to them through the avatar versus yourself, and you're not creating you as an avatar. It's a totally separate thing where you are creating an avatar that's like learning and doing things and maybe even eventually talking to people when you don't know it. But that's a whole other thing that I found. And I feel like Meta is toying with that with WhatsApp. And it's slightly bizarre and I want to say it can be scary, it's bizarre, and it's also just fascinating. I'm like, what is happening there? The creating communities through these, AI standalone avatars. So I created one too on Instagram, and I don't really know what to do with her, but she sends me messages every once in a while because I made her be a fan of K-pop. And so just now before the show, she's like, "Did you hear that BTS is gonna have a new album?" I'm like, first of all, that's not true, but second of all, okay, well, let's chat. I haven't chatted with her yet, but she sent me a message.
It's like the friend who just gives you bad info. You're like, great,
right?
I already know
I have
humans
to
who do
teach
that.
her. I had to teach her like 4 times, like, no, that's not correct. She's like, oh, I don't know what I was thinking. Thank you. And then, corrected herself. So it's like you have to train these AI avatars. Anyway, it's really strange, but that's a topic for another day.
Okay. So I don't want to belabor WhatsApp too much longer. And for those of you who use it all the time, I know I sound like an old fuddy-duddy. But I realized now that a dog who's a king in a church is my avatar. I realized that I'm still my currently set to is, hey there, I'm using WhatsApp, because I just never changed it. So I was like, yeah, I should probably change that. And we have a variety of different languages of just sort of like, hey, hello, blah 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 blah. But one of them that WhatsApp is suggesting that I use is like at school, at the movies, at work, battery about to die, can't talk, WhatsApp only, in a meeting, at the gym, sleeping, urgent calls only. Where it's like, wow, none of this is like super crazy to me. It's like, if you're at the movies, you're just like, don't just leave me alone.
Don't bother me.
Yeah, like I won't be able to engage with you, but battery about to die. That's my favorite one, because that is, I mean, let's be honest, people.
Leave it on all the time. Just leave it.
Let's be honest. If someone is like, phone died, so sorry, I didn't get back to you. It's like, okay, we know that didn't happen. We all know it didn't happen. Nobody, sure, I mean, maybe once a month, you're just like, I don't know. I just, my phone was in my purse and it just died. Like, no, phone died. It's like no phone, who dis? Okay, okie doke. Yeah, no, just phone died. Yeah, isn't that funny? Because I know that you use navigation when you're driving in a car. So your phone would have been plugged in the whole time. Phone died, though. Huh. Interesting. This is probably how parents feel when they're like, "I caught you, kid," and kid's like, "We're in Roblox.
Caught you, yeah.
You have no idea what we're doing."
Oh, I love the one that's like, can't talk, WhatsApp only. Like, just text, just message. Don't talk to me. Don't call me.
Yeah,
don't even voice memo.
Can't see anything out loud.
No, this is
we're
a dangerous
in a
situation.
Sticky situation. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But I love that. Like, these are all they're just pre-populated. I didn't choose any of them.
Yeah.
This is just sort of like, maybe you would want to choose can't talk WhatsApp only. If I did that, like someone would be like, "Are you okay? You know, like, are you being held hostage? What's happening?" Maybe I'll just choose. I'm gonna select at the gym. That'll make me sound like I'm doing something good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now my avatar is a dog wearing a crown in a church, and it says about at the gym. So, all right, everybody, you find me on WhatsApp. That'll be good.
Can you find my avatar? All right. Try and find my avatar.
So confusing. I am positive that at least someone I know, and again, I talk to like 3 people on WhatsApp. This is not an app I use, constantly.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be like, "Are you okay?" It just feels very like, I don't know, a lot of things changed. I'll be like, yeah, I'm a dog that's a king now, and I'm at the gym. So
Yeah. I mean, you got a problem with that? You got a problem with dogs? You got a problem with kings? Like, come on. Yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting how everybody is sort of splintered in different ways, like there's a huge WhatsApp community. There's a huge, messages community. And then there's, the people on Android and, Google messengers. And my Android phone, I accidentally just changed everything to Google messaging. I'm like, oh wait, I have a Samsung. What happened to my, Samsung message? I just clicked a button and then here I am. I'm like, oh, okay. Shows you how much I use that phone, to be honest with you. I was just kind of like trying to update the operating system and all that stuff. So it just hey, it's good to have choices. It's good to have choices, and hopefully you can find people where you need them. But I think maybe I just get tons of spam now too on my iMessages. I do like the fact on iMessages that there is the whole breakdown: all messages, known senders, unknown senders, unread messages. I like that because I actually
like
just
that
kind of
too.
stick with known. I stick with known senders, and then I might see I do get the flag, 1 or 2, I get the number like, oh, you have a text message. I'm like, oh, there's nobody here. Oh, let me just double check that other area. And then I can see that it's,
that
spam.
happens to me every so often. Not that much anymore, but I'm with you. Like it's funny when I see, like, for example, I'm looking at my email notification on the Mac OS machine I'm running right now. It says 54 messages. And I'm like, I'll never look at them. It's just, I've already looked at my email for the day. Like, it just doesn't matter to me. But if I see one on top of messages, I'm like, who was it? Oh, where did they come from?
I got to get to it.
I got to get to it. Yeah. It's like email. I'm like, you just can't keep up on that stuff. Other people have different ideas about email. But yes, I've definitely been in messages before where I'm like, where is it? Where's the unread whatever? And it actually, so this is also, okay, if I'm just one small little gripe as we're wrapping up the show. Every so often there is like, I'll see like just one, a notification. So I'm like, ah. And if I right click and it'll say like new message from, and it's usually like some weird number where I'm like, it's spam, but like, when was it? Like, I want to clear it out. I need that number to be gone. And I can never find it. And I think it's just a Mac OS bug because I mean, there have been times where I'm like, all right, well, let me write down the number and then try to do a new message to that number, which should pull up the previous message. And there is no previous message. I'm just like, that's so weird. Yeah.
That must be a bug.
I don't know that it's like a scam necessarily, or, some sort of, I don't know. But, and then it'll just go away eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
One of life's big mysteries.
Huh.
Yeah. If anyone has had this happen, knows what I'm talking about, and has advice for me, would love to hear it. Feedback at applevisionshow.com. But Eileen, we always like to close out the show with some talk about what we're watching. So are you watching Murderbot?
I am watching Murderbot, and episode 3 got better for me. It was a bit slow, and I didn't rewatch 1 and 2. I just dove into 3 because they have good recaps. They have good recap. And usually I skip them, but I was
You
like,
can just
let's not skip.
just kind of get up
Don't
to
skip
date.
this one because I kind of don't remember the stuff from before. But I think there's more like stakes involved now, and I feel a little less, intro this, intro that, and I think now it's starting to get going. So I'm enjoying, and they're so short. They're 22 minutes, you guys. They don't take long at all. So I love, give me a nice short, blast of story, and I'm great. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. But yeah, we are just through 3 episodes, and the 4th one comes out on Friday. Are you watching it?
I am not. I'm not there yet,
Okay.
and I have no good reason. So
It'll be there. It'll wait
yeah,
for you.
totally. I mean, isn't that the beauty of streaming? Is like I have
It'll always
a
be there.
long laundry list of things where I'm like, oh yeah, I should watch Peaky Blinders. People seem to love that show, like years ago, and it's sort of like it just isn't going anywhere. So it's just on the list. And then there are other. I mean, for example. The season finale of The Last of Us, which I love. Not everybody that I talk about television with, some friends who were just very into talking about, like, what are you watching? What's good? Oh my gosh, episode 6, et cetera, et cetera. And I see, some of my friends are like, it's not that good of a show. And I'm like, yes, it is. I love it. But the other night, I was watching the finale, and I mean, and of course, watching it on an Apple TV, but HBO Max show, and I fell asleep because it was just late. It wasn't that it wasn't a good episode, but I just I don't know how it ended, and so I was like, I need to watch that again. I'll just when I have some time, I'll try again. So I did. Same thing happened. I just can't. After 9 p.m., it's like it's a crapshoot. I don't know. I get really comfy on the couch, and I close my eyes for just a couple seconds, and then I miss half an episode of any show. But so a friend of mine who does not like The Last of Us as much as I do was like, and how about that finale? What a oh my gosh, everything I've said before, I stand by. What a it was just a derp show. And I was like, what do you mean the finale? Am I behind?
Oh.
And they were like, no, it was the finale. And I'm like, I'm watching the finale like now for the 3rd time, and I can't even get through it. So
There was a lot of action too. Wow. Okay.
I know. I'm like, I didn't know. It didn't feel finale-esque to me, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I just didn't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm watching. So who knows, Eileen? Maybe I'll get through it tonight. I'll
Did your
try my
friend
best.
who doesn't like the show? Did your friend like first season or no?
Kind of.
Just didn't like the show. Okay,
Just
did not like it at all. Okay.
So for anybody who doesn't watch the show, it's based on a video game, and there are a lot of action scenes that I feel are very intentionally video game-esque. It's sort of like, oh, I see, it's like, people going through like a hallway with a gun, and and they're like bad guys, and and the good guys win most of the time, blah blah blah. But it feels sort of awkward in that way to me. I've never played the video game, so I'm just watching a show. But I can tell that they're doing certain things to be like the game, to be true to the game. So you've got people who have played the game who are just like, the show's going off the rails. They're not being true to the game. You're always going to get that. It's like Harry Potter people who didn't like the movies based, versus the book. And then there are people like me who are like, I don't even know what's happening right now. But I can kind of tell that it's being video game-esque. And then my friend, and there's more than one friend, but one in particular is just like, it's just not a very good show. And I'm like, yes, it is. It's so good. I watched an episode, no spoilers, a couple weeks ago, episode, and I like cried at the end of the episode. I was like, God, I love this show so much. So I don't know. It's funny how things will just affect you. Either you're like, this isn't really that good. And I feel that way about lots of like shows and movies that other people love. Or the exact opposite, where you're just like, it's so good. And someone else is like, not really that good. Kind of tropey. So, we're all special snowflakes.
Now we have to wait 2 years. And I think, I was holding my breath, at the end of that. And I'm a little like what was surprised me was when everybody's like, we have to wait 2 years. I was like, we do?
That's a long
years?
time. I don't even know how it ended.
Long.
So yeah, I'm like holding my breath at this point right now. But yeah, 2 years is crazy. It kind of, gosh, what was the show? This has happened before, and before we started recording this episode, we were kind of talking about this. There are a variety of reasons that these things happen. There was a writer's strike in Los Angeles where a lot of people work on stuff like this. There are various reasons where it's like, oh yeah, 2 years might go by before you get, the next season of a show, or maybe the season just doesn't happen. And, money and who even knows what. And I actually was having a conversation with a friend about this recently, where I was like, how long is just too long before you just have to watch the first season again? Because you kind of remember the show, but you don't remember how it ended. But even if you watch that one final episode that was like, or even the penultimate episode before that, you kind of don't remember all the backstory. I don't remember what show it was for me, but I was like, I have to start over. I'm starting over. Oh, I know what it was. It was, what's the UK show where they're all like brokers? Oh gosh, I'll have to look it up again. See, I can't even remember.
I don't think I watched it, but I know what you're talking about. I think you know what it is? I depend on those
Industry.
I wouldn't, I wasn't even, I wouldn't have come up with that. I actually depend on like YouTubers that'll put together the like Cliff Notes version if I really need it. But sometimes I just go right in. I'm like, oh, well, I'll figure it out, or maybe I won't know, but that's okay. Somebody online will tell me why this is significant, even though I forgot what really happened the season before, So I guess it just doesn't bother me that much. But there is a little bit of like, why? I don't want to bother Tom. Like, why is this? He's like, oh, you don't remember last year? Da, da, da. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I am so that person as well. Where I'm like, so why is he whispering right now? And they're like, Sarah, pause. Like, what's the question? Quiet. Watch the show.
Just watch the show. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I just don't really understand. And then you'll figure it out later. I know somebody online will post something on social or on YouTube, and then I'll be like, okay. And then maybe it wasn't even something that I really cared about. I was just confused. So I just depend on other people to tell me what happened. And if I really, some shows do the like catch up. There are some shows that do the like, hey, this is what happened last season in like a 15-minute,
Well, and they do it, it's like on the next episode of, and you're like, okay, that's interesting. And then they're like previously on. So you're not really that far behind. You're like, okay, I know what, for the most part, what's going on. Unless it's a show that's just trying to confuse you. And sometimes those shows are more fun to just go in blind and
just
be like,
go in blind.
I have no idea what's going on. But you still have to remember what happened last time. Or you're like me, and I'm like,
you kind of do.
I'm like, why is he like, Did he? Did he get a
Why was
haircut?
his hair
I
long?
don't know.
It was short last year. Oh, you forgot the time jump? Did you forget the time jump?
It's been 2 years, Sarah. Yeah, his hair has grown quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. I feel like 2 years is too long for me, and I will need a recap.
It's way
of
too
this last year.
long. It's like
I will need a recap.
if you if anyone else does this, let us know. I will, because okay, so historically I don't like trailers. It's not that I don't like the work that goes into movie or TV show trailers. I get it. It's, you're doing a great job. But I have too much information about something that I want to be surprised by. So I tend to just skip them if I'm not already immersed in, the show / movie. And so like The Bear, which is coming back on Netflix, FX.
FX,
soon.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember how the last season ended, and I really liked the show. And it hasn't been that long. It's coming back. But I still am sort of like, and how exactly did it end? So I just like go to the
I'm
show's
that way too.
wiki, and
yeah.
I just read all the little paragraphs about like episode 1,
Perfect.
2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't take that long, and I'm like, oh yeah, because I saw that. So I don't need to
Yeah.
watch it again. I don't know. It feels like a little like DIY life hack for a show that
Sometimes
you
you
are
just want to
invested
watch it
in.
again.
Yeah.
The one
exactly.
show when Game of Thrones, like the seventh season was on, I ended up going all the way back and rewatching from the beginning. And it was a great experience because I feel like I did forget a lot, and it helped, in the last 2 seasons to kind of understand where we came through. But you don't have to do that, but it just it felt like a richer experience to me because I understood in depth, everything that had happened, and I was reminded, and it was just
when
fun. I was like, oh,
when
I
it's a
forgot about
complex
that,
Totally. When it's a complex show where it's like lots of people are, related, and, it's like who's good, bad, who are you rooting for?
Yeah.
A couple different watches can be helpful. I am.
Yeah.
Please stop me if I've told this story before, but speaking of iPads, I was out of town. One of my cousins and I were in New York City for like a fun weekend, and I like staying in this like tiny little loft, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I watch Game of Thrones, because I'm like really into the show? And she was like, I don't mind, but I'm just gonna go to bed. Like bed was like up like a ladder. It's just a funny little apartment, but I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway, so I'm watching on my iPad, and I'm like, cause I can't skip it. It's Sunday night, and I'm watching, and it was the Red Wedding, that episode.
Oh.
And so
Wait,
I'm
I
just,
think you did tell this story. I'm trying to remember.
I may,
but
I
yeah,
may
okay.
have, this is, and if you haven't watched it, then you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it ends with a bang. And at the end, I was just like, oh my God. My cousin was like, are you okay? What is happening? And I'm like, it was the craziest episode ever. And she was like, is it that big a deal? And I'm like, yes. It's that big a deal. I have to get on Twitter. But yes, shout out to the iPads all over the universe that let those of us on vacation watch our favorite shows using someone else's Wi-Fi.
Oh man. Yeah, it's hard to explain too when they just don't know, they can't get it, and
You just don't. Well, it's like if you were to tell me about some show I've never seen, and you're like, it's so crazy, I'd be like, okay, I believe you. I'll put it on my list.
I'll
no,
put it on
you have
my
to watch
list,
it like
sure.
tonight. I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Not tonight. But I'll put it on the list. It's so hard to. When you feel so passionately about any piece
Yeah.
of content, whether it's like Apple TV Plus shows where like Severance, for example, I feel very passionately about that
Yeah.
show. But we all have these like, oh, you got to see it, you're gonna love it, and then
know,
someone's
I
like,
know.
it was okay.
I know, right? And you're like, oh, okay. Like we were
Yeah,
trying to
we're
get
just not-
Lamar Wilson, our friend, to watch The Bear because he's from Chicago, and then he tried to watch it, and he wasn't into it.
He
And
wasn't
he
into
loves
it.
those type of sandwiches. Yeah, he loves those type of sandwiches. I think it was the stress of the show. I can't remember exactly what he didn't like, but I was like,
The show
I
is
totally thought for
stressful.
sure he would love it because because he's from there. He's from
Well,
that,
yeah.
and he eats the sandwiches, that they make and all this stuff. And he was just like, yeah, not for me. And I was like, oh, we were completely wrong. We thought we knew you.
It-
Well, how
it's fu- it's-
how presumptuous to
how
be
that
like, you're
stuff
from
happens.
Chicago, so you're gonna like it.
well, but
He said it was
but
accurate, though. He did say it was like it,
accurate,
it was,
just not enjoyable. For
accurate.
him. Yeah.
Yes,
You know
exactly.
what? A great example of that show, Silicon Valley. Remember Silicon Valley?
Oh yeah,
That was a very popular
didn't-
show. Gosh, what was it?
You
was
didn't love it?
HBO, was it? Was it?
Uh huh. Yeah.
HBO?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was too accurate. I was like, this isn't inaccurate.
Wow.
I just was like, I don't like these
Interesting.
people. Not the sort of rough and tumble founders, like they were fine, but it was like the whole the whole premise of the show is like, we're gonna make it maybe with a startup, and I'm just like, I don't like it. And so many people were like, how do you not
Wow.
like this show? I mean, isn't this sort of your realm? And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yes, and that's why I don't like it. it's like
Yeah.
going to work.
Too close to home.
Too close to home.
I could see that.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. Yeah. I actually experienced a Silicon Valley type moment, not like last year at some, co-working gathering, and I literally looked at my friend and we were both like, are we in Silicon Valley, or are we like, there was an engineer, there was like a budding, startup owner, and they were just talking about whatever you can imagine the conversation was, like when you watch the show, it happened in front of my eyes, in front of a fire pit. There was like a fire, we were outdoors, and I was like, this feels like, wow, they were talking about, startup culture. And I just felt like I am in Silicon Valley. And my friend and I, like later in the car, were like, did you think that? We're like, me too. That was so interesting. But, I loved it. I loved it because it reminded me of the show.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our favorite shows, and our not favorite shows. If you're from Chicago, you might not like The Bear. Just a big
you might
old
not.
spoiler alert for you. But it's a really good show, though. But they do yell a lot. It's very stressful.
They do. Yeah.
Well, Eileen, thank you for not yelling at me during the show. We're going to go ahead and wrap up episode 60. Look at us.
Woo!
Of Apple Vision Show. This was fun, as always. And also, as always, we would love to have your feedback. Anything that you want us to cover on a future show, anything that you've noticed that's, Apple related, or anything in between. Feedback at applevisionshow.com. Until next week. That's it.
See ya, guys. No catchphrase. Still no catchphrase.
No catchphrase. Yeah. Until next week. Bang.
Bang. Did Amos leave?
Yeah, Amos is like, I'm not even here anymore.
I'm not even here. He's really not here. Is he gone? Is he okay? Are you okay, Amos? Amos, are you?
This is a lot of fun.
okay?
Amos.
Amos. You guys, I think we should name this show Bestie on Fleek, no?
Bestie on
Bestie on Fleek 26. I'll add the 26.
Bestie on Fleek 26. It's perfect. It's perfect. That's what I'm going to name my phone. Yeah. It's just like, that when you just sort of like, oh, this is like a cute inside joke, and you just forget about it. And then someone's like, what is that? And
What
you're
are
like,
you doing?
Oh, my phone.
Why are you doing?
Name is Bestie on Fleek. She's like, why would that be your phone's name? I don't know. It was funny 5 years ago. Okay. I don't know.
Maybe we were talking so long, and then Amos is like, "Yeah, I'm those.
Amos
They're
just
gonna
like,
keep going.
I am
And
going
like,
to
see you
take a
later.
nap. Those two
I'm gonna
hens
go take a
just
nap.
keep at it.
Hold on, let me. I'm gonna log in and see if I can control this end here, so we can have this. You guys are seeing this live, everybody. Let me see if I can.
how we
mute
how
myself
we
here.
what is it? How we make the sausage? How we make the sausage?
Hold on one
Amos does
second.
not appear
I'm gonna
to
mute
be on
myself.
Discord right now.
I'm gonna mute myself here. I'll be right. Even though you could.
Yeah, you're definitely muted. I'll just be like la 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 for anybody who's still with us. Bestie on Fleek 26. That's funny. That is funny.
Sorry, this might take me longer than I thought. So just give me a few seconds here. I will
Zoe.
be-
I knew you were gonna say that, Zoe. So Zoe, since you're here with us and we're trying to do a couple things behind the scenes, somebody had made, it was like a dinner party that I didn't go to, but leftovers were brought back to my house, and somebody had made green beans that had like bacon bits in them, and also other, like, I think like pieces of walnut. I don't know. They were good. And as I started eating, I was like, uh-oh, there's bacon in here. But it wasn't that bad. It kind of was good. I'm not saying I'm going to eat bacon, but it was kind of good. So there you go. Thought you'd enjoy that story.
Okay, I'm gonna play the open. Okay, hold on. Did that
What was
sound
up with the
weird?
balloons?
Oh, I think because I did 3 or 2. Yeah.
Oh,
There
what
we
is
go.
what? Oh, it's like peace. Mm-hmm. Having fun.
See?
Weird.
You have it turned on too.
Yeah.
Let's see. Does the heart still work? This hasn't worked in a while. No. Doesn't want to work. Come on, heart. Oh.
Ooh.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm doubled. Oops. Thank God. Hold on. There you go. There you go. There you go. And then.
So stupid. It gets me every time. I'm like, ooh, look at this. Yeah.
I know. I know. All right. I'm going to end the stream, guys.
Okie dokie.
Bye.
See ya,
Thank
ladies.
you for joining. Oh, yeah. When you do thumbs down, isn't it? Oh, wait.
Oh, it's
yeah, storm.
raining. Oh my gosh. I didn't know this would happen. Oh